You can't do anything in life.
You lost it.
Loser. You can't do anything in life. Loser. You can't do anything
lost it.
in life.
You lost it.
You can't do anything in life.
lost it.
You can't do anything.
So, life just kicked you in the teeth, huh? Welcome to the club. Life just punched you in the face. Maybe you lost your job, failed your exam, got dumped, or worst of all, burned your Pop-Tarts. Tragic. Now you're probably here thinking, how do I recover? How do I put my shattered dignity back together like a cheap IKEA table? Well, don't worry, I've got you. Welcome to When Life Breaks You, How to Overcome Failure, also known as free therapy with slightly questionable advice. I'll walk you through the beautiful dumpster fire that is failure, why it's not the end of the world, and how to actually use it to your advantage. And yes, we're going to make it funny, because let's be real, crying is overrated, but laughing, that's free cardio. So, what exactly is failure? Simple. It's when your plan doesn't work out and life goes, LOL, nice try. It's when you spend 6 months preparing for a presentation and your laptop decides to update right as you start. Or when you try online dating and realize half the profiles are just people holding fish. But here's the truth. Everybody fails. Jeff Bezos failed. Elon Musk failed. Heck, Colonel Sanders failed so many times. Dude didn't start KFC until he was basically retirement age. Imagine pitching fried chicken in your 60s. Legend. Failure doesn't mean you're done. It just means you found one way that didn't work. Or in my case, 1,374 ways. But hey, who's counting? So, life broke you, huh? Nice. Welcome to the club. Don't worry, the membership fee is free. You just have to fail spectacularly at something. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you got dumped. Maybe you tripped in public and tried to play it off like, I meant to do that. Spoiler alert, no one believed you. Whatever it was, life basically sucker punched you and now you're lying there like a broken taco shell. But hey, if you're watching this, you at least survived. So congrats. Step 1. Not dead. Gold star for you. Now, before you grab another pint of ice cream and cry into it like a sad Netflix cliche, stick with me. Because in the next couple hours, we're going to turn failure into fuel. We're going to take that big steaming pile of disappointment and, well, not exactly turn it into gold, but at least compost. You know, something useful. And don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those boring motivational seminars where someone in a suit tells you to just believe in yourself. No. Around here, we deal in sarcasm, reality, and the occasional bad joke. Buckle up. All right, let's start with the basics. What exactly is failure? Failure is when things don't go as planned. Simple. It's when life looks at your cute little dream board and says, "Oh, that's adorable. No." It's when you spend 3 hours making homemade lasagna and it comes out looking like a crime scene. It's when you finally confess your feelings to your crush and they hit you with, "Thanks, buddy." Boom, friend-zoned. It's when you buy Bitcoin at its peak, and now you're explaining to your mom why her retirement savings are in the toilet. That's failure. It's not always dramatic, but it always stings. But here's the thing. Failure is not some exclusive VIP experience. It's not just you. Everybody fails. Albert Einstein? Dude couldn't even get a job as a teacher at first. Oprah? Fired from her first TV job because her boss said she was unfit for television. Yeah, tell that to her billion-dollar empire. Colonel Sanders? The man didn't launch KFC until he was in his 60s. 60s? That's retirement age. Most people are thinking about bingo. This guy was thinking about fried chicken. So if you failed recently, congratulations. You're in excellent company. Welcome to the Legends of Failure Hall of Fame. Your plaque is in the mail. Here's the biggest myth. Failure equals the end. Nope. That's Hollywood nonsense. Failure doesn't mean you're worthless. It doesn't mean you're doomed. It just means you tried something and it didn't work. That's it. End of story. Think of it like Google Maps. You miss a turn, it just says recalculating. It doesn't scream, well, that's it. You're lost forever. You just try another route. Failure is basically life's way of saying, try again, genius, but maybe do it differently this time. All right, so now we know what failure is, why it happens, and why you shouldn't freak out about it. Up next, we're diving into why it feels so bad. Spoiler, it's not just your broken ego, it's your brain being dramatic. Let's unpack that hot mess next. Okay, so we know failure happens to literally everyone. Great. But why does it feel like the universe personally hates you when it happens? Like, you fail a test and suddenly your brain is like, you're worthless, pack it up, time to go live in a cave. Chill, brain. It's just a test. Nobody died. Well, that's because failure doesn't just mess with your plans, it messes with your mind. And trust me, your mind is a bit of a drama queen. Let's start with ego. Ego is basically that inner voice in your head that thinks you're Beyoncé, even though you're actually singing karaoke at 2 a.m. in a sketchy bar. When you fail, your ego takes it personally. It's like, wait, what do you mean I'm not perfect? Impossible. I am flawless. And suddenly you're spiraling, questioning every life choice you've ever made, including that haircut you got in high school. The truth? Failure doesn't break you, it breaks your ego. And honestly, your ego kinda needed that slap in the face, so thank failure for humbling you. Next up, expectations. You know, those shiny mental images of how life should go. You expect the date to go well, you expect the job interview to land, you expect your sourdough starter to not turn into a science experiment, and when reality doesn't match your expectations, boom, heartbreak. Think of expectations like ordering a burger online. The picture shows this beautiful, juicy masterpiece, and what you actually get looks like it was run over by a truck. That's failure in a nutshell. The bigger the expectation, the harder the crash, which is why I personally keep my expectations low. That way, if something goes right, I'm like, wow, bonus. And let's not forget social media. Oh boy, nothing makes failure feel worse than scrolling through Instagram after messing up. You fail a project, and meanwhile your high school classmate, who you swear barely passed math, is now a crypto millionaire posing with a Lamborghini. Like, bro, didn't you once eat glue in 3rd grade? How do you own 3 houses? Here's the secret. Social media is fake. Everyone's just curating their highlight reel. They're not showing you the 19 failed businesses before the Lambo, or the 4,000 selfies they deleted before posting that one perfect shot. So don't compare your behind the scenes to someone else's greatest hits. Now let's sprinkle in some science. Don't worry, I'll keep it simple. When you fail, your brain reacts like it's actual danger. It lights up the same stress circuits as if you saw a bear in the woods, which is why your heart races, your stomach drops, and you suddenly feel like hiding under a blanket forever. But here's the kicker. You're not being chased by a bear, you just bombed a presentation. The danger isn't real, but your brain can't tell the difference. Thanks, evolution. Very helpful. So if you're sitting there thinking you're broken beyond repair, nah, you're just human. Your brain's being overdramatic, your ego's sulking, and Instagram is lying to you. The truth? Everyone feels this way when they fail. They just don't talk about it because everyone's too busy pretending they're fine. You know, when someone says, I'm fine, but they're eating a family-sized bag of Doritos alone, Yeah, not fine. That's what most people are doing after failure. You're not weird, you're just average. Congratulations. Let me tell you a quick story. I once tried to impress someone by cooking dinner. Simple meal, right? Pasta. Easy. Except I forgot one small detail. I didn't own a strainer. So what do? Genius here tries to drain the boiling pasta water by holding the lid just slightly open. You already know where this is going. Half the pasta went down the sink. The rest? Mushy disaster. Did I feel like a failure? Absolutely. Did it actually matter? Nope. The person still laughed. We ordered pizza, and honestly, it turned into a better night. Moral of the story: most of the time, failure feels bigger in your head than it actually is. So here's the deal. Failure hurts because of your ego, your unrealistic expectations, and your brain being a total drama llama. But once you understand that, it's easier to deal with. Which brings us to the next part: how to handle failure in the moment. What do you do right after you crash and burn, when you're still in the middle of the emotional mess? Don't worry, we're going there next. Let's be real, failure sucks. It stings, it embarrasses us, and it makes us want to quit. But here's the truth. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. Behind every highlight reel you see on social media, there's a blooper reel a mile long. Every overnight success has years of late nights, wrong turns, and failed experiments behind it. The difference between the people who make it and the people who don't, it's not luck, it's not talent, it's persistence. They just keep going. And that's what we're going to unpack today: how to survive failure, how to turn it into rocket fuel, and how to build resilience so strong that nothing can knock you out of the game. So buckle in. By the time we're done, you'll see failure not as a dead end, but as your ultimate comeback tool. First, let's talk about why failure hurts so badly. When you mess up, your brain doesn't just say, "Oh, that didn't work." Nope. It goes into full-blown alarm mode. Your body releases stress hormones, your mind replays every mistake in high definition, and suddenly you feel like you're the only failure on the planet. But here's the thing: failure isn't danger, it only feels like danger. Your brain evolved to protect you from lions, tigers, and bears, not from a failed job interview or a side hustle that flopped. So instead of seeing failure as the end, we need to reframe it. Failure is just feedback, it's data, it's your progress report in disguise. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Not, why am I such a screw-up? Big difference. Think back to a recent failure you had. Maybe small, maybe big. Instead of beating yourself up, try asking, what's the one thing I learned from that experience? Okay, so failure happens. What do you do in that painful moment when it feels like the world is collapsing? Step 1. Breathe and pause. Don't make permanent decisions in temporary pain. Give yourself a moment. Walk it off. Sleep on it. Step 2. Process it. Write it down, talk it out with a friend, or, my personal favorite, find a way to laugh about it. Humor doesn't erase failure, but it makes it survivable. Step 3. Reset. Pick one small step forward. Not a giant comeback, just something simple. Send one email. Try again tomorrow. Progress doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to keep moving. Because here's the deal: the faster you bounce forward, the less power failure has over you. Kinder quick example. Remember when you tripped in public as a kid? The kids who laughed it off were fine. The kids who froze, panicked, and looked around to see who noticed, they suffered longer. Same rule applies to adult failure. Don't freeze. Reset. Move. Now let's flip the script. How do you turn failure into the very thing that fuels your success? Let me tell you about a guy I knew. His first business? A total train wreck. Maxed out credit cards, no customers, embarrassing ending. Most people would have quit right there. But he didn't. He sat down, analyzed what went wrong, and made changes. Second business? Smaller launch, smarter budget, tighter plan. And guess what? It worked. What changed? Not his talent, not his luck, just his persistence. He refused to let failure be the final chapter. That's the key. Failure is the tuition you pay for wisdom, and if you're willing to pay it, you'll eventually win. So think about your own life. What's one failure you've been treating as a dead end when really it's just expensive tuition? Okay, let's talk resilience, the muscle that keeps you moving forward. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward, coming back stronger, smarter, funnier, more capable than before. Here's how to build it. 1. Reset your goals, make them realistic. 2. Break them down into small, winnable steps. 3. Move through fear by acting anyway. 4. Keep your recovery routine strong. Sleep, exercise, connections. And most importantly, keep your sense of humor. If you can laugh at failure, you'll never run out of fuel. Think about it, everybody fails. You'll burn dinner and end up ordering pizza. You'll text the wrong thing and autocorrect will make it worse. You'll adult wrong at least 3 times a week. And life will go on. Nobody scores 100%. So how do you play the long game with failure? Simple. Fail, learn, adjust, try again. Repeat. This isn't glamorous, it's not instant, but it works. Here's the comforting truth. Life is built on trial and error. Broken doesn't mean done. Broken means you get to rebuild smarter, stronger, sharper. Remember, your failure is not your identity. You're not defined by the times you fall. You're defined by the fact that you get up again. That's your superpower. Think about the people you admire most. Are they flawless? No, they're relentless. So let's bring this home. You've failed before, you'll fail again, and every time you'll survive. What matters is that you keep moving. That's what people will remember. Not the falls, but the fact that you kept getting up. So here's your homework. Go fail at something. Seriously. Ask that person out. Start that project. Try that dance move you'll probably botch. Because if you fail, congrats. You're learning. If you succeed, even better. Either way, you win. You are tougher than you think, more capable than you realize, and more resilient than any failure you'll ever face. Now go out there, fail forward, laugh louder, keep moving, because your story isn't about falling, it's about rising. And if you survived while I'm talking about failure, honestly, you're already proving just how resilient you are.